Oh, I don't pay for suits. My suits are on the house, or the house burns down.
Welcome back to the Red Right Hand Podcast, the show that covers each and every episode of the BBC hit show The Peaky Blinders. And this week we are covering Season 1, Episode 5. I'm Josh.
I'm Curtis.
And let's just get right into this. We're like kind of on the precipice here of a lot of things from the season that have kind of been building, like about to start kind of paying off or going wrong, or a lot of those things just like coming to fruition.
Right. I'll probably have to say it's probably my favorite episode of the season.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
4 and 5 have been a little bit slower for me, but I think it's just because like I'm waiting on the 6th episode, which really like kicks off a lot of stuff for...
You know you're at the end, yeah.
Yeah. It just kicks off a lot of stuff for the next couple seasons. But the episode starts with Tommy walking through a cemetery. He passes by a bunch of graves and then stops at one. When Tommy walks away, we're kind of shown that it's Danny Owen's grave, who's Danny Wisbeg. And a lot of times when these episodes start with like something like that, you know it means something.
Significant.
Yeah. So, but it leaves that scene and it goes right to Polly also. She's walking through the rain to Ada's apartment. She's got food for Ada and the baby, and she tries to get Ada to come answer the door, but she won't.
How quickly do you think that like time has elapsed from the last episode to now? Because when they show that baby, man, that baby looks, I mean, babies come out kind of chunky anyway, but he looks kind of chunky. He's already got some hair, like quite a bit of hair on him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he definitely doesn't look like a newborn, but that's like a super tough thing about TV and movies, I feel like, is it's hard to, you can't always get your hands on like a newborn to... You know, having these scenes.
It's a kind of a weird casting call. Be like, we need a certain type of newborn.
Yeah.
It's like,
We're looking for a baby that's only been born 2 days ago.
Right. Yeah, who wants to bring their baby to... I don't know if the doctor would recommend that, probably.
Probably not. But Ada won't take any help from Aunt Polly. Aunt Polly goes ahead and leaves the food for her. She says that babies don't hold grudges. So she's just concerned about Ava and the baby, and they need to eat. And Freddie's in prison, so he's not.
Right, so they show that shot of him, and he's all beaten and bloodied up. And then that's another reason why I wanted to ask that. It's like, God, how long has he been in there, getting tortured every day,
If I had to guess, like maybe a few weeks.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Maybe like a couple weeks.
Right.
Tommy and Polly meet, and they discuss... Basically, Polly thinks that it was Tommy who set this all up. But he defends himself, and basically tries to convince her that he didn't have anything to do with this. We kind of know from the last episode that it was his fault, but he didn't know,
Indirectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he said it, but he wasn't thinking that, Grace is going to relay this information back to Campbell. So Tommy goes to the garrison and talks to Grace. It's kind of right off of him and Polly talking about that. He goes like straight to the garrison.
He leaves, yeah. I think
it's almost like kind of weird when he gets in there. Like he's like, I don't know, you almost get the feeling that like he's starting to put the pieces together, and that like he maybe is suspecting her at least a little bit, maybe not of that, but there's just, it's like a weird coincidence,
Well, I mean, we talked about before of like things are stacking up against her. That he's he's not believing, that she worked in different places, that she lived in different places, and people never heard of you, and blah 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 blah. So, yeah, I mean, it's stacking up against her, and so he's taking notes of that for sure.
Yeah. But he throws this little bit of information at her. He says, he writes, he puts a black star next to a date on the calendar. I don't remember what day it was. But he says Black Star Day, and that's the day that they take down Billy Kimber.
Of course, she asked him, well, you're telling me that, does your family know? And, of course he was like, no, because all my family members hate me.
Yeah.
Obviously kind of going back to where he just came from of talking with Polly about Ada. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, in the last few episodes, he's, in Arthur's head, he's kind of usurped the throne from Arthur.
Right.
In John's head, like, he kind of made a mess of what he had going on with Lizzie.
Yeah.
And
married him off without even asking him.
Yeah, and then married him off Phillies. And then Aunt Polly thinks that he set up Freddie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not really anybody on Tommy's side right now except for, I guess, maybe Finn.
Yeah.
And Ada, because, I mean, Ada is estranged, and she also, like, doesn't want to have anything to do with Tommy right now.
Yeah,
Like, she also thinks that it was Tommy who did it. So the next scene is Arthur, John, and Johnny Dogs. There's some other guys there. They go to this it's like an underground boxing match. It's definitely like some illegal fighting going on.
Well, if you definitely don't pay attention very well, I mean, I never realized until watching it this time that Johnny Dogs was there.
Yeah, this is the first time I noticed that he was there too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's why I mentioned it, because that was the first time I noticed he was
he's
there.
in the background, like he's talking to Arthur and John, but like they're not in like the foreground; they're kind of in the background.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not like there's stuff happening in front of them, but like, yeah, it's hard, and it's dark in the area, so it's hard to really identify somebody like that, especially when you can barely hear him talking.
Yeah,
because he does have a line, but yeah.
But they're this underground boxing match, and they're talking about trying to squeeze some money out of the guy who's running it. They say it's this easy place to make some money.
Right.
And so they start talking to that guy, but he's not really having it. And kind of before things take a turn, they hear one of the guys in the ring yell out that he's Arthur Shelby. I'm Arthur Shelby.
No, I'm Arthur Shelby.
So
was this like Spartacus?
Yeah. So this is Arthur Shelby Sr. Do you remember the actor's name?
I don't know.
I can't remember his name. He's
Did he look
huge
familiar?
now. Yeah, he's Chips in Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he's got those crazy scars, and that's just like his face. Like that actor has those scars.
Tommy Flanagan?
Yeah.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Sons of Anarchy, Mayans. Apparently, he was in the second Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't remember that.
The guy's name was Tolkien Guardians. I don't remember that character.
Me neither.
I'm digging deep here, man. Going down a rabbit hole. Because now I want to know, like, who's this character?
Was that not listed on his...
What, Guardians of the Galaxy?
Or no, was Peaky Blinders listed on his thing? On his, like...
No, I just looked up Arthur Shelby Sr.
Oh, yeah, I got you.
Actor.
Yeah.
And then, it doesn't say, like, what part that dude is. Anyway, it don't matter. But,
Yeah, he plays kind of a specific role, I feel like.
Oh, I remember him from Braveheart. He was in Braveheart.
Yeah, he is in Braveheart. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
He's a lot younger in that.
Yeah, okay.
But he's Arthur Shelby Sr., and he's the boy's estranged father. And And Arthur invites him back to the house. They're kind of talking. Polly doesn't really want him there. And she's kind of told him to go, but he says that he was invited there by the head of the house, and which he thinks is Arthur Jr.
Yeah.
But John points out that the head of the house isn't here.
Right.
That it's Tommy. And so just kind of an important line, I feel like, that especially John delivers, like
He's
it's not
recognizing.
like Polly has to tell him that or something. It's John telling him that. So everybody's kind of falling in line behind Tommy because they can kind of see that his plans, at least now, are working.
Right.
When Tommy comes home, he basically just tells him to get out. It's
look on his face, though, when he comes, he's just staring at him. He's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then we find out he's been gone 10 years.
Right. Which, again, I was trying to think. We talked about the ages.
Mm-hmm. So,
how old was Tom?
18.
Tommy?
He's 28.
So he's 28, 29 right now.
No, he's 31.
Okay. So
yeah, because Ada was 28.
So I'm trying to figure out. You talk about the age. So he'd be about 21 when the dad left, and he's sitting there saying, we needed you 10 years ago, and so I'm thinking, okay, well, what does that mean? What happened? What was happening 10 years ago that you really needed him? Because you're 21 years old. I don't know.
Whenever I thought about it, I was just thinking just the time period and the things that are going on, and being a poor low class family in the slums of Birmingham.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
They form this gang to kind of help themselves and
right.
pick themselves up out of the dirt. So, and that was just kind of when he ran out on him. So we kind of see, this is the first look at, obviously Arthur looked excited to see him whenever they saw him at the ring, in the house. He's almost just kind of in awe of his presence.
Yeah, nobody's having it but him.
Yeah.
And Finn, I guess.
And
Finn doesn't really say anything, but yeah.
Arthur tries to defend him, kind of against Tommy, and he says that Tommy also pushed Ada away, so that he just kind of pushes all their family away. There's a really brief moment where Arthur almost challenges Tommy.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah. But then he just he thinks better of it and leaves.
Although that probably would be a pretty good fight, because Arthur's he's a beast, man. When he gets pretty pissed off and he wants to fight, But Tommy's pretty strategic about fighting, I guess. Or he's kind of the same way, I guess. But it's just kind of interesting to see a fight between them.
I think a fight between them in season 1, Tommy wins. I think a fight between them anytime after that, and Arthur wins, because there's that massive turning point. I kind of mention it later, but there's a massive turning point at the end of this episode that kind of spells out where we're going to see Arthur start out at the beginning of season 2, which is a completely different mindset.
Well, he kind of turns into a dog on a leash for Tommy.
Yeah.
You can just let loose anytime on anybody,
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
So Arthur goes to the garrison. He takes some cash out of the register. Grace is kind of poking around the books and stuff, and she says that she's seen there's basically payouts, accounts payable to Danny Owens. And Arthur says that, he's in London. He gathers information for them. And Grace says that she thought that he was dead, that Tommy had killed him. And Arthur tells her that was just kind of a show for the Italians. I think that was the first episode.
Yeah, it was. The sheep brains.
Yeah. So now Grace knows that Danny's alive, and she's kind of starting to piece this stuff together. Like, she knows that there's a grave.
Right. Well, she keeps asking about, she keeps asking those questions, and he's answering. And then finally she asks, well, then if he's not buried there, who's buried there? And that's what kind of like, he puts up the walls. He's like, nope, you need to stop asking questions on things that do not concern you.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's almost as bad as answering, because then that just kind of tells you, okay, something's up, then what are you doing in that grave?
Yeah. So Grace, I guess she's still curious about it, so she goes to check out the grave. But I think just to kind of like, I don't know, just kind of scouting out the area, see what was...
Let's see it for herself, maybe.
Yeah. So after that, Arthur Jr., Sr., and Finn all go to the boxing ring. They're going to spend a lot of time at this general, like, warehouse area where this boxing ring is. It's always, like, in the background of these shots. It tells the boys that he's a changed man. I think he asked him if he's... No, that was with Lizzie, where they're like, has she found religion? And John's like, no, she hasn't found religion. But yeah, he basically tells him that he's changed, like that he's had some kind of religious awakening. Yeah. And then they kind of get off on the subject of if he had served at some point, and he says that he doesn't mention anything in specific. He says that he'd fought all over.
Well, Finn, so like you said, they bring that up, and Finn says something about, where'd you fight, Dad? He says, all over. It's just kind of like, wow, really? You gonna answer like that, man? I mean, I could see right through that answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
mean, you could have at least come up with some answer. Psalm or whatever. Well, I really didn't fight any battles. They kind of had me in the background or whatever. I was a telegram boy. I don't know.
Yeah. And he definitely...
I was a general. Something. I single-handedly won the war.
Yeah. Some great war story.
Right. I killed 50 men.
But he is, even, regardless of whether or not he served, he is a fighter. He says, he basically starts talking to them about America and this kind of idea that he has for starting a casino resort type, a Las Vegas type establishment. And he says there's a lot of money in it. And watching it, like rewatching it, it does seem like he's kind of trying to bait him, like he's kind of like...
He definitely is.
Because later on it feels a little bit more, a little more like, oh, you want to get involved in this, but...
What?
Yeah, but in the first little bit here where he's kind of like mapping some of that stuff out, like it didn't come across the first time as so like manipulative.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't know what his motives are the first time we watch it.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, definitely now going back, you're like, okay, everything he says is bullcrap.
Yeah. He says he plans to open the Shelby Casino and Resort. Arthur wants to get in on it, so he's going to pull out some money from their accounts to fund that. I put down the quote when he asked him how much money he needed to get started. Senior said the oak needs but an acorn. I don't know, I just kind of like that quote.
Yeah.
We get a nice Irish toast, and so this is like really confusing. So after that, they go into the ring, right?
Yeah.
Senior and Junior. We've had some drinks. Man. Now we're gonna go in and box. Senior beats Junior mercilessly.
I don't want to hit you, Dad.
Yeah, before he holds his arm up like he won the fight, and then saying that he could beat any person in that ring. But the guy who just
Except
got his
me.
yeah, the guy who just got his ass kicked, like this is the guy who could beat up any of you
Wait,
guys.
this dude?
I don't know.
Oh,
It was
come
just a
on,
very
no.
like I got what they were going for, but it was just a
Right.
really weird scene.
Right. Well, my favorite part of that though is, I mean, it's his accent, Arthur Jr.'s accent, and just kind of the gruffness of his voice already. You know, it's kind of cool and at times kind of funny on some of the things he says. But when he gets done, you know, announcing that to everybody, you know, they kind of embrace, and you know, he's like, "Hey, I love you, son," and he's back. You can just barely hear him go, "I love you, Dad." It's like, whoa, man, a little aggressive there.
Dial it back.
Yeah, just dial it back just a little bit, man. But I mean, again, I think that kind of shows his emotion of he's so excited that he's back, and that, you know, he kind of feels like we're a family again, you know. So, but it was just kind of a funny part to me every time I watch it. Just like, whoa.
I also put down that Arthur and Finn seem to be the only ones who want anything to do with him. They're kind of the only ones buying into the crap. And I think Arthur, because I honestly don't know why so much like that Arthur, you know, is just like dying for his attention.
I mean, they got the same name, so maybe there's something to that.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, he's the oldest, so there
Yeah,
might
he's
be
the
a
oldest.
little bit more bond there, but also it just I think my thing with Finn was it was more easy for me to see why Finn, you know, would be kind of in awe of him because like
really?
he didn't even know him
No.
like at all.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's like this fascination with like now I have a father, like I never had a father,
Right.
like he's right here. So that made more sense for me than Arthur. Arthur's is just kind of like more sad, you know, because he's just like
Right,
he's just
yeah.
dying for his like affection. So Tommy's drinking at the Garrison when he's approached by an Irishman named Byrne. He asks about Ryan, who was the Irishman who was killed by Grace in the street, the one that she was following in like the second episode, I think. Second or third, maybe.
Second or third. I think it was third.
But he reveals that they're cousins, and he's basically just this whole time trying to get a feel for Tommy and also like trying to intimidate him.
Yeah, I don't know though, because talking about accents and voices, this dude has like the weirdest. Like, he's got a good Irish accent, but just the way he talks is like so like choppy kind of to me. You
Yeah.
know? I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Just like
He had a
Mr.
weird
Shelby,
like
you know, or whatever.
yeah.
It's like, ew, you're weird, man.
yeah.
He
But
just kind of got a weird face.
It almost like made him more creepy, like more like serial
he
killer.
always kind of gave me like this weird vibe every time I watched it, and I'm like, this dude he's just weird. He's different.
Yeah.
But
But he's trying to intimidate Tommy, kind of get a feel for him. He and Ryan were both members of the IRA. He basically asked Tommy if he thinks that when the Irish came to him to ask about the guns, if he thought they were lying, you know, if they thought they were just pretending or whatever. But he says that they are connected and that they are the IRA. He also says he's from South Armagh. And I don't know exactly where that is, but I gotta
Say
assume
South Park?
with the way the music shifted there whenever he said that and the tone changed, that's not good. Like at this time, it's like
one of 6 counties of Northern Ireland. So
oh wow, well that's informative.
yeah.
Is
Is it or is it not? You mean sarcastic?
It's not.
Well, pardon me for even just trying to go look it up, man.
Tulsa is one of
Yeah, but
big cities in Oklahoma.
Okay, shut up.
Oh, we learned a lot.
Yeah, but here's the thing about it, though. I mean, wasn't it the north part of Ireland that's like was infested with IRA?
I think
that
yeah,
was
I
like
think
their hub.
Yeah, I think Northern Ireland.
You know,
was the,
so there's that.
Yeah,
I don't know what more you want from me, man.
I basically took it, like, just in the context there, I took it as that it was, like, a hub, like, for the IRA. It was, like, an important place for the IRA.
Yeah, I guess so.
But he says that he's a man of influence there. And now they're going to go to the back room to talk. And I put the snug on there.
Like, where are they going?
Because Tommy calls it the snug for the first time.
Yeah.
So they go into snug to keep talking.
What'd you say last episode you were saying about when he said that? You're like Leonardo DiCaprio.
I was like that meme. Yeah, I was like that meme of Leo. Like, oh.
That's all I could think of when he said that was just you doing, oh man.
Yep. So he believes that the blinders have the guns, even though they told the other two Irish that they didn't. He says that every finger in this town points in one direction. The IRA have men everywhere, and the police, the BSA. He's basically telling him that we know you have the guns. Like, every time Tommy tries to throw something back at him, like, oh no, they're confused, or they must be, something. But Byrne just keeps drilling him on it.
Well, he kept saying, like, his first source was, your boy Danny Whizbang talks a lot when he's drunk. Of course, he's like, well, Danny Whizbang says a lot of things. He also sees a lot of things, too. Sometimes he sees German infantry on the back of milk cartons or whatever,
Yeah, he shoots at them with his broom.
He shoots at them with his broom, Yeah. So he's trying to discredit everything that he's coming at him with. And, yeah, you're right. He's like, he's having none of that. He's like, no, what I'm saying is true, and what you're saying is just bullcrap.
Yeah.
But I love his response, though, at the very end here. I'm not sure if we're there yet, but, like, Tommy's response to him just finally saying, whatever else you're saying, you have the guns, and he finally just like, you know what, I do have the guns, and they are becoming a burden to me.
Yeah,
I'd like to unload that burden. Just like, it's almost like condescending, like, to me, that he's like coming back at him like that.
Oh, he's
almost
not
like
gonna
sarcastically. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll give them back to you.
Yeah. No, and Byrne basically threatens him there. Like, after telling him several times that they know they have the guns.
Right.
He basically starts threatening him, and he says that he thinks that the blinders killed his cousin, and whatever he decides will be the truth of it, and they'll act on that. But he says that if the blinders don't deliver the guns, then he's going to wipe them all out, just destroy their enterprise, them, everything. So that's when, after all that, Tommy decides to, but Tommy's not going to come in and be like, oh, okay, I'll tell you where the guns are. Like, please don't hurt us. He's got to make it
just one time. I would like to see him grovel,
cell,
man.
like a cell.
Right. Get down on your knees and just beg for mercy, Tommy. Come on, please don't do this to me.
Won't do it.
That'll probably be the series finale. He'll be on the ground just like begging, please. I'll do anything.
But he says that he is ready to unload the guns, but for the right price. So he's not going to give these up to the IRA. They're going to pay for them.
Which I definitely don't think he was too happy with that answer.
No.
So
No, it wasn't. Popular little meetup spot for Tommy and Campbell at the tailor. Some little like side room at the tailor.
Right.
They need to talk about kind of the situation with the IRA. He tells him about Byrne. Campbell says that he's hooked a big fish. Like, so Byrne is somebody that's important in the IRA. Campbell wants Tommy to deliver Byrne, so he basically wants to, when they set up this meet to trade the location of the guns for the money, for Tommy to set Byrne up to get taken down by the police.
Right. It's a sting.
Yeah. Tommy asks Campbell, he says, since we're getting along so good, maybe you could tell me who gave up Freddie. And Campbell says that, as everybody in the city knows, it was him.
What?
Yeah. So they've just kind of been spreading it around that Tommy turned him in.
Right, yeah.
You know, just trying to turn people against the blinders. So Arthur Sr. Shows up to the back door of the house in the middle of the night to get the money from Arthur to invest in their little thing they've got going here. He says that their ship sets sail on Friday. They're going to meet at the Ring before they go. Grace lets Tommy into the pub very late, and he kind of comes in a panic.
He's banging on the door.
Yeah. He says that Grace asked him if he's expecting trouble, and he says, yeah, that he is. I think this all just kind of got set in motion fast. I was trying to figure out, like, after the fact, I was like, why did he go straight from, like, that meeting with Campbell to there? And then he tells Grace that, like, he's only just found out about this meeting. Like, I don't know, it all kind of happens weird, and I don't know if Byrne, like, got in touch with him and was like, hey, we're meeting now, you know,
Probably
or something.
so,
but, then anyway. So he's expecting the IRA to show up, but he tells Grace that after they have the locations of the guns, they're probably going to kill him. He gives Grace his gun. He tells her to wait in the back room until he gives her the signal to come out with the gun raised. He doesn't want her to kill anybody. He just wants her to come out with the gun raised.
Just a threat, yeah.
Yeah. When the bells chime, two men enter the bar. They sit together at the table with Tommy, and they exchange the location of the guns on a map for money. The two men are Byrne, and I can't remember the other guy's name. He was the guy who was with Ryan, who sang... I don't remember the name of that song, that IRA song. Is it called "Oh Father, Why Are You So Sad"?
Wait, that was that dude?
Yeah.
I thought he got killed. Because I thought he was saying... I thought Byrne was saying, you know, this guy that got killed is my cousin, and he talks a lot. You know, I know he acts like, I don't know, he just says too much. Seems like, well, that's why I was thinking it was that dude that was singing the song.
Yeah.
And just, like, talking too much, because the other guy was like, you know, shut up, you know, stop, or whatever. But, okay.
Yeah, I know, weird, right? I don't know if that's like a... Yeah, I don't know if that was a continuity error, maybe, or... Maybe it's just a weird way they put that, like phrasing, or...
I don't know. Are you sure that's the same guy?
Yeah. Yeah, he's just wearing a cap. It's
Because
definitely
the cap makes
him.
a difference.
I mean, it makes him look a little different. But that's definitely him.
Well, if it made him look different, maybe the director wanted him to be somebody else just by wearing a hat. Hey,
No,
hey.
not the same guy.
When you're an up-and-coming show, maybe you can't get all the actors you want, okay?
No, it was
Sometimes
the
you have to
same.
have, like, the same actors play two different characters.
I
Like,
hope.
weren't you just in the last scene as someone else?
I really hope that's not what happened. But they pull a gun on him. They tell him to make his peace. They're not going to let him live after everything that's happened. Tommy toasts. He says to barmaids that don't count. And Grace comes out, gun raised, and then she shoots the other guy. The guy, I don't know that guy's name. Other guy.
Other guy.
Yeah, unnamed Irish guy. She shoots him. And then Tommy and Byrne start fighting. I love they go to the bar first. They like go down on the bar together, and then Byrne flips Tommy's coat up over the back of his head, and that's where it all starts to go wrong.
That's gotta be terrifying.
But I put that down. Like, I love that move. Like, the coat over the back of the head. Like,
Right.
You're screwed.
Because, like, as he's suffocating, you can see him, like, breathing in the coat, in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
But, like, that and, like, the intertwining clips of, like, flashbacks to the tunnel,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and all that freaking out, claustrophobia and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just when it kind of seems like Tommy's kind of done for there, And like you said, there's, those flashbacks of the tunnels. In kind of a panic there, he manages to drop a heavy elbow on Burns' crotch.
He gets the nut shot.
Yeah, and busts his way out of there. It was at least 2 or 3.
Oh, it was about 3, I believe.
It was a few. And then he manages to get over on top of Byrne and just completely demolish his face with one of those little spittoons.
Spittoons, man,
yeah. So he kills Byrne right there on the floor. Moss and the police come in too late on purpose. I forgot about this from the first time I watched it when I was making notes. I'd forgotten that there is a small scene right before it happens where Moss and the police are outside, and Moss says, no matter what happens, we don't move until it's over. He said, like, it's no business of ours if there's damage done to either side. And I think Campbell's just hoping that they both kill each other.
Yeah, 2 for 1 special,
Yeah. Because without Tommy, I think the chances of, especially with Arthur running the show, like them cracking and giving up the guns, are pretty good.
That's true. Bad thing is, even Arthur doesn't know.
Yeah, that's true.
He's too busy having Father-Son Day. At the local boxing matches.
The father-son picnic.
But I like his, like, when the police come in, he was saying, why didn't you come in such and such, you were supposed to come in at such and such time or whatever. So he's, like, freaking out, and then all of a sudden it's just like, mood change. My bad. Mood change. And he's like, it was an accident or whatever. I don't remember exactly what he said, but
well, it's like he realizes he says, like, you were supposed to come at this time, and then it's like it all washes over him, like, oh, they did this on purpose,
right?
Like,
yeah.
And then immediately, I think he just goes into the mode of like, well, I don't know if they're with me anymore, so
yeah,
this was self-defense.
They attacked
blah,
me.
blah, yeah.
What was I supposed to do?
Starts going through the whole spiel. So Grace and Campbell meet apart. Well, okay, I guess at the end of that scene, it's really, Tommy explaining himself what happened, and then Moss says that none of this ever happened. But yeah, I do like the quote that Moss uses, that he looks like he was killed by a wild animal.
Which, I mean, how many blows that face with that spittoon.
Yeah. I'm sure it just caved his whole skull.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
And then also, too, it's just like kind of key. Whenever Moss and the police came in, Tommy and Grace were hugging. Because they just killed a couple guys together.
So let's hug it out.
Yeah, there's nothing to, bind a couple together more than killing a couple dudes.
Remember that, fellas, when you want to impress your lady.
Yeah. So after that scene, Grace and Campbell meet at a park. He mentions that in Moss's report that Grace and Tommy were embracing. And he I don't know, I think he's just kind of concerned about her and kind of where her mind's going. And
oh, for sure. And where they're going.
Yes. Grace takes responsibility for the killing. She says that she killed the men and that Tommy tried to stop her. She says that she no longer feels the need to avenge her father after the previous night, and she wants to resign at the end of the mission. She says that Campbell can have the location of the guns as long as he promises basically to leave Tommy alone. Which just doesn't seem likely.
Yeah, right, man. he promised with 2 fingers crossed.
Yeah, he's come way too far for that. She thinks the guns are buried in Danny Owen's grave.
She did a lot of digging, though, like, information. I'm wondering, like, where she got this information from. Because she's talking about, the funeral was only attended by the brothers. the tomb was, lined in lead or something like that. Something
Yeah.
about lead.
Something to keep out, like she said,
The
to keep out
damp.
the damp.
Yeah. I mean, where'd you get all this information from?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because I wondered that too. I mean,
Like,
she,
now that you're
she
saying
could
it,
have
I'm like,
gotten it
that's
from.
weird.
I mean, she could have gotten it from one of the brothers, like Arthur again, but it didn't show that part. And I would have thought maybe that would have been important, but then why show that part twice? Or that information twice or whatever. But
we get a little montage here of Campbell digging up the guns, Arthur waiting for Arthur Sr., and Ada and the baby alone. Just kind of a disappointment montage.
yeah.
But it is. This is one of my favorite songs in the series, and I know you're not a.
No. Before you say it, I was actually gonna say I actually like this one.
Okay.
I thought she had a good singing voice on this one, and I like this song too. So
This
don't
one
judge
does,
me too quick, man.
This one does like suit her voice well.
Yes, I agree with that.
But it's called "I'm Stretched on Your Grave," and I can't remember who originally sang it, but it was in 1979 that it was first performed. But it's based on. It's got most of the same lines as a poem called "Stretch." It's called "I'm Stretched on Your Grave." It's just a 17th century poem. But that one fits the scene really well. All but one of the Lewis guns are accounted for, and Grace resigns her position. Then we got Creepy Campbell making his move here. He decides that since she's off the force a whole 5 seconds,
Don't do it.
this is the best time to propose to her,
Oh, he did
and
it.
presents her with a ring.
Yeah. Oh God.
She very awkwardly declines and says that he deserves better. And that's pretty much all that she offers up to him.
The disappointment on his face when she closes the ring box, like tells him that he's like, "What?"
He had, like, the look on his face originally.
Like he was shocked that she said no.
Yeah.
What? Are you serious, dude?
I don't know what led him to believe that there was, like, anything between them.
There's chance. Of course, he was like, I'm not expecting love in return. Just, acknowledgement that we are, what do you say?
Like minds.
Yeah. Like, okay. He turned the creepy level past 10, man, up to like 12 or 13.
Yeah. Really awkward scene.
Man. But you're right, because I always thought that too. Is like, she just resigned, dude. Can you just give me like a little bit of time, to kind of relax and decompress from all this work and everything at least, Now, I'm going to spring it on you right here, right now, in the cemetery. How romantic is that?
Marry me.
We're standing right on top of this dude's grave, man.
And Campbell thinks that Tommy's now between them. Like, he basically thinks that the reason he and Grace can't be together is because of Tommy.
Right.
So that's just going to add another layer to Campbell's hatred of Tommy.
I mean, if he definitely, which again, we both say he honestly did not mean that promise when he said he wouldn't harm Tommy, but he's definitely not meaning it now.
Yeah.
So.
So then we get old Junior trying to track down Senior at the train station. And it's just painfully obvious that Senior is bailing on the family again.
Well, it's funny too, like when he calls him out and Senior's talking to like these two ladies that he sees when he's like, oh God. Oh great, we're gonna have to go through this, And it's like, I hate this scene too, because like everything from like here on out with Arthur in this episode just seems so depressing, and you feel so bad for him,
Yeah, the rest of the episode is super heavy, like after this point. So basically, Senior's trying to skip out on them. He's going to take the money that Arthur gave him and I don't know what he's gonna go do. They don't say. He's just taking off. He's screwing him over again. Junior tries to stop him, but he's just not strong enough. And this is kind of where I was talking about, like, the transition starts, you know?
Right.
Like, he's not strong enough to, like, beat him here. And, you know, come the beginning of season 2, we're going to see a totally different Arthur that is, like, in the best shape he's ever been in. And just, like, he's a killing machine,
right?
You know.
Well, and like he quotes a scripture from the Bible, from Proverbs, about, you know, people do not despise a thief if he steals to satisfy his hunger when he's starving. And I get that, but dude, that's not you. You're just a scammer, bro. You're just a scammer.
Yeah,
so,
but that's,
I mean, like, you're putting a bad twist on a good verse.
Well, that's
you know?
just classic. You know, that's just classic.
Well, and again, yeah, I mean, of course, he was sitting there talking up Jesus Christ through the whole episode. I'm saved, you know, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I mean, but yeah, it's like, dude, now you're a scammer, bro.
Yeah.
You're not hungry. You're not starving. You're just a scammer.
He's just trying to justify, even probably in his own mind, like, how this is okay. You know.
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, that's gonna set up. Yeah, I put that in my notes. It sets up Arthur a lot for season 2. But Arthur goes to tell Polly, and she already knows what's happened. She knows he took the money.
Well, he got beat up, basically. But I mean, he got raised and tried to attack his dad to get his money back. And again, just like the wrestling or the boxing ring scene, he gets manhandled, like you're saying. So I mean, I don't know. It's just really sad, man.
Yeah. So he goes crawling back, tells Polly what's happened. She says she already knows. And she says she's not going to tell Tommy, but he's going to have to.
It's that close-up shot of his face, too. I mean, there's a lot of emotion in that. And just like the facial movements, tiny facial movements. It's a little too close.
He's a really good actor.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Campbell addresses the cops. Kind of while that's happening, we get a shot of Tommy and Finn seeing the empty grave. Tommy says that he's going to have to take off for a while. He tells Finn that he's got to leave. Campbell says that tonight they're going to take Tommy down. Arthur, he's drunk at the ring. He's trying to get anybody to fight him.
Who wants to fight me?
Yeah, a couple of the guys that are with the guy who is running the ring. Kind of, I mean, they want to beat him up.
They want to,
but he stops him. He just tells Arthur to get out of there. At the garrison, Harry tells Grace that the police are going around in numbers asking about Tommy. And just then Tommy comes in. He tells Grace that he has to leave for a while. I thought that was funny. I don't know why I thought it was so funny, but like he tells Finn, like, Finn, I'm gonna have to go away for a while. And then like 2 minutes later, he's like talking to Grace. He's like, Grace, I'm gonna have to go away for a while.
Well, you know,
he's just telling everybody, you know, like, I'm gonna have to go away for a while.
Who else I gotta talk to? Let's go see Polly.
Yeah. He's repeating the same
He's got a list,
line.
like he's checking people off on there. Like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. But she leads him away just as the police arrive. Campbell starts asking people about Tommy. I put down the quote from Harry.
God.
Where Campbell's, Tommy Shelby. And Harry says, I've never heard of him. Like, just so like, no.
It doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah. But I really like Harry. Like, I think he's a good, He's
he is
fairly loyal to them, even though most of it's just out of fear.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you kind of see that fear here in just a moment, too. So.
Yeah.
But the other thing, too, is, like, the person that chimes in, is that Finn? I was trying to think if that little boy was Finn.
Oh, yeah. It was Finn.
Okay.
He said, you'll never find him.
Yeah.
I love that.
Just the way that, like, Campbell looks up to me, he's like, go home. He's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was really thinking, like, he'd just, like, shoot him or something,
Yeah. Something brutal.
Yeah. 'Brutal. Yeah. Brutal. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
He's kind of coming unhinged. So Campbell asks about Tommy. Harry says he's never heard of him. Finn tells him that you're never going to find him. Never going to find him out there. So finally, Campbell starts getting a little wild. He puts the gun to Harry's head. He's going to shoot him. And I sincerely believe he would have shot him there.
Oh, he would have, because I was trying to remember when I was watching it again. I was like, oh yeah, does he kill him here or not? But I couldn't remember.
No.
Okay, but no, he doesn't, obviously.
But Harry gives up the info. He says that Tommy left with Grace. They went to her apartment.
Yeah, and see, that's why I was saying there's the fear again. Obviously, he'll break down to anybody who has a gun pointed at his head, basically.
Yeah.
So.
And after Campbell hears that, I still don't know exactly why, but he calls off the whole search. Like, I realize
he probably didn't want to hurt though.
Yeah, he doesn't want to involve Grace in this, but also I'm kind of like, I don't know, like even Moss was like, why? Like, like, why are we calling this off,
right, Yeah.
It just seemed kind of weird. Like, you know where he is, like, just go in and get him Yeah, it just seemed weird to call the whole thing off, but...
Of course, at the same time, he knows, like, Grace's track record, too, of, like, killing people.
Yeah.
So maybe he's kind of afraid that if I go busting in there, she'll defend him by trying to shoot me or anybody else in the way.
And one way I kind of tried to justify it was that he at least... I think now that he knows they're together, he's starting to go a different direction. Like, he's going a different way with it. Like, instead of just wanting to bust him and bring him down, he wants to get some, like, crazy revenge.
Well, he wants to kill him.
Yeah. So I think it's, now that, like, he definitely knows they're together, I think it's more like, okay, I'm going this alone,
Yeah, I can see that too, yeah.
So then we've got Tommy and Grace at her apartment. He said an interesting line that people are different at home. How
they let their guard down, it feels like.
Yeah, and how people are at home is different than how they are out in the world,
Right. More comfortable at home than you are out there.
Yeah. Sometimes they can be pretty much two different people,
Yeah, that's true.
So I liked that quote. Tommy says that he'll have to stay there until morning. Grace is kind of playing around. Like, how long do you think we'll have to stay?
Yeah, how long is that going to be?
Probably pretty late. She's like, till the morning? And he's like, well, yeah, probably till the morning. Yeah. And they both know what that means.
Wait, what does that mean? No, I was kidding. I skipped that part. I don't know what happened.
Tommy puts on a record, and they dance as Campbell watches them from the street. This is another super creepy
let's
scene.
Let's just go ahead and turn that volume up a little bit higher there on the creep level.
Yeah, where he just steps out of the shadows and he's like watching their silhouettes in the window, and then just melts back into the night.
God, he's such a creep, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they dance. Campbell watches. Clothes come off. Getting down to business.
Wait, Campbell's clothes come off?
Yeah. Then Campbell's clothes come off. And it's time to get out to business. So the next morning, Tommy doesn't hear the shovels against the wall. Which is kind of a turning point for him in the show, too. There's a turning point for a couple characters in the show.
Right. He doesn't need the opium anymore.
Yeah.
It feels like.
Yeah, he's not been using the opium like the last couple episodes. Yeah. And then like now being with Grace and like his mind just being at ease, like he's not having, all this PTSD.
Right.
So he talks to Grace, and he says that he wants her help with more than the business, says with everything, with life, He just wants to be with her.
Well, I think he recognizes, like you're saying, with there's no more, he doesn't hear the shovels anymore, and I think he recognizes who helped solve that problem. And he wants more of that. He wants peace of mind. He doesn't want all the traumatic things that he experienced still running through his mind.
Yeah. And then we get the ultra downer scene of Arthur trying to hang himself at the boxing ring.
And epically fails.
Yeah. Rope breaks. Arthur comes down, and that's why, especially in this first season, some of these, like, I mentioned in episode 3 and 4 how there was a lot of just like 2-minute scenes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it changes throughout the show, but especially in like this little strand of episodes here, there's so many scenes like that where, especially this one, where I feel like it probably didn't deserve to be a standalone scene like that only lasted like 2 minutes, was really weird, and then shot instantly over to something completely different. I would have liked to maybe see that scene backed up against Tommy coming to the house and talking to Arthur.
Yeah, but is that not what happened? I thought
No.
it went from him trying to hang himself to Tommy coming into the house.
No, we go straight from... I mean, it's pretty close together. But we go straight from the rope failing to Campbell sending a telegram to
That's
Churchill.
dumb. You would think it'd be the opposite.
Yeah.
Because
But
that
I
would
don't
make
know.
a lot more sense of like, while they're they're still doing their thing, or talking in the morning or whatever. Campbell's sending out that telegram because they're still connected there.
Yeah.
Whereas, like you're saying, the Arthur stuff and then Tommy coming in and talking to him would be connected. But yeah, I'm with you on that.
It was just kind of, I don't know, it felt kind of fumbly. But Campbell sends a telegram to Churchill saying that his business is concluded in Birmingham and he'll be returning after one last thing is done, which is super ominous. And we got to assume that one last thing is just killing Tommy.
Oh, I thought it was going grocery shopping.
Oh, yeah, he's got to pick up some groceries.
He's got to get some gifts for for the boys of the police department. Thank you for your help, your cooperation.
That sounds like
Here's
Campbell.
Yeah, for sure, dude. He's turned over a new leaf, okay?
Okay. It's all gravy from here.
It is all gravy from here, man. Smooth sailing.
And so after that, Tommy goes to see Arthur. He sees the marks on Arthur's neck. Arthur tells him what happened to the money, and Tommy says, just when things start going good, you go and do this. And I think that's kind of part of Tommy's frustration been with, I think a lot of them really, has been, well, maybe not Polly, but John and Arthur, in that things are starting to take a turn for them, and they're just making bad choices,
It's like, trust the system. I mean, like, trust me,
Yeah.
I'm trying to take us to good places, and you keep screwing it up.
Yeah.
And derailing it.
And then,
whatever.
And then what Tommy's saying, too, is, like, like, things have been bad for so long,
Right.
And you guys, like, now, when things are going good, you guys are going to start screwing up,
Right,
They
exactly.
start screwing around?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he's just really frustrated with that. I mean, I think he's split, it's his brother, like, that's super painful to see.
Oh, for sure.
But then also, like, he's like,
Frustrated
what are you
at it.
doing? Like,
Yeah.
we are so close
Yeah.
to, like, having everything, So, so Tommy reveals that, just kind of ease Arthur's mind, a big thing in this whole season has been that this power struggle between Arthur and Tommy, especially in Arthur's mind.
Right, yeah.
And basically him, I think, feeling like that Tommy is just the head of everything. He's, taking the lion's share, like he, things are going to be done his way like that. But Tommy reveals to him that their company, Shelby Company Limited, the shares of the company are split into thirds. A third to him, a third to Arthur, and a third to John. So they own a third of everything. It's equally split, And it just, kind of shows, too, that Tommy knows that all of their, there doesn't necessarily have to be, like, a head of family, Like, even though he, like, assumes that role, they all kind of fill that role, but they have different characteristics.
Right.
Everybody
has their task, yeah.
Yeah, and has their talents. And Tommy's just the idea man,
Right.
So, but, I thought this was funny too. I put that all three of the oldest Shelby boys are equal within the company. I thought it was funny how they just, like, cut Ada and Finn out of that. Like, like, they'll always be taken care of,
Well, for sure, yeah.
But, like, I did think that was funny. I was like, well, why didn't you cut Finn on that? Because he's not an adult, so
right,
I guess
that's
that
what I was
makes
thinking,
sense.
Like,
but
he's not an adult. What's he going to do with his share?
yeah. But yeah, I thought that was funny.
And I think Tommy sees what he's going to be like in the future from what we know in season 5 of like what he likes to spend his money on. So, Finn. So,
Yeah, that could be bad.
He's got some vices, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, and I think that's why he's like not as disciplined as the others is because like the others came up hard with no money and only had money later in life, you know.
Yeah.
And Finn has had it since he was like now like 12, 13 years old.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
And access to all the things that brings, you know.
Exactly.
Tommy tells Arthur that Campbell's leaving, so they're basically in the clear. Now that, you know, they've got the guns and everything's been taken care of. We get I had mixed feelings on, like, the outro for this episode.
No, don't you hate the outro of this episode, man?
Did you like it?
I love this outro, man, because this is one of my favorite songs from the whole series.
Part of me liked it. Part of me, I don't know, goes back and forth every time I watch it. That's like, is this a little bit cheesy?
No, but at the same time, I always have to, when I watch this episode at the very end, I always have to go back and say, wait, is there another episode this season? Because it just kind of feels like, okay, this is an end of a season.
It does feel like the end of the
everything's
season.
great, man. You know? But no, there's still one more episode. So, I mean, that part kind of gets me. But I mean, I like it. Yeah. It's just me that I don't find a cheesy part to it, and I see a lot of cheesy stuff out there in the world. So
yeah,
I know cheesy, man.
So we get that montage of basically their business ventures that they've got working so far. We get the song Bring It On by Nick Caves and the Bad Seeds. Then Tommy walks out the door into the sun. Yeah, kind of same deal. Like, it feels like the end of a season, like endless possibilities. We're walking out into the sun, you know?
Right, yeah.
But, it is kind of weird placement.
I don't know if you said this earlier when they were talking. I don't remember you saying this, but when they dug up the grave and they got all the guns out, did you say that they had all the guns accounted for but one? Okay, I just want to make sure because that is important.
Yeah, all but the one Lewis machine gun.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a bunch of different kinds of guns in there, but...
Which is weird, too, because, like, he does not seem... When Campbell says that, he does not seem, like, fazed by that. You would think he'd be like, we're still missing one. We got to find him. You know, he's just, like, so... We found the guns, man. All but one. But, you know, whatever. Which is so weird. That's not like him to me.
And Churchill told him in, like, the first or second episode that all of them have to be accounted for down to the last bullet.
Right.
So yeah, and I could see them overlooking, like, maybe a pistol.
Yeah.
But it's a machine gun,
dude, yeah.
And there's obviously some ammunition missing, too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know. It does seem like they brushed over that pretty quick, but I guess they were happy to get most of it, you know?
Well, and I think he was too focused, too, on his proposal.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he knew that, okay, now I got the gun, so she's resigning, so I can do this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Awkward.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up episode 5. We'll see you guys back next week for season 1, episode 6, that season finale.
We got one more.